All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Bookmap Academy meeting. Our weekly Thursday meeting. And you guys know the drill. We'll just go through it, though, what this is all about. We are coaching and mentoring you through your trade journaling. You mark up your charts and your trades from Bookmap, and then we'll give you feedback on that. And then that's gets you going into the academy, and then you continue to work your way up through the academy as you go on. So, for example, those of you who don't know too much about this, go to bookmap.com, click on the More button here, and then go to Bookmap Academy here under Community, and you can read through this. So you can apply here. Just hit the Apply button, and you will document your trade activity, and then you are in the you've applied for the Bookmap Junior Academy. Once we start to see that you are creating the content and the quality and the quantity is there, you'll be invited to the Bookmap Junior Academy, and then that's the testing ground. We're really trying to hone your skills there, and you meet those skills, then you will be invited to the Bookmap Academy, where you can get Bookmap for free. You can get the Global Plus version of Bookmap, as well as the MBO bundle. Then it goes on. You can become a coach like David or Jack. You can become a streamer like Tom and Doug. So they've made it through the academy to the fourth step here. Anyway, you guys know the drill, and man, I'll tell you, a lot of you guys are creating some really, really great content, and we go through that and take a look at the Discord channel there, and it's pretty impressive. Some really nice stuff in there. I can only hope that is really improving and helping your trading. Anyway, let's jump in and let's start to go through your stuff. General disclosure: all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. I do have a few things to go through. A lot of you guys are creating some great content, but you're not documenting it in your spreadsheet. Please do so. It won't count otherwise. And that's where we have it documented, and that's where we grade it, right? So you'll need to put it up into your spreadsheet, and then we can take a look at it and give you feedback on it. You'll need to verify in Discord. So if you haven't done that as well, here's this screen. And then I wanted to go through some new features here first. We've had many new features recently. I demoed it this week, the multi-account, which means that now you can trade from one. Let's suppose that you have Apex or fast track trading. Let's say fast track trading. They've got a great new service. It's there's no evaluation period. It's been very popular with a lot of traders out there. Anyway, you can get Bookmap in that service as well, and you can take one trade from one account but have it copied over into multiple accounts. All right, this is in beta. If you're interested in that, I'll have more information for you tomorrow on that. Okay, and we'll post it in the announcements, etc. You'll get the word. I know there's been a lot of interest on this. It's a great feature. We have the journal sharing feature that I demoed or showed last week. We have trading from TraderMap Pro. This is huge. So the TraderMap Lite and the TraderMap Pro, you can trade right from the chart now. So you have that insight from that heat map that is helpful instead of that bot that is really skewing the order book. And then we've gone over our 24/7 simulator. quite a bit, and I've been showing that as well, which is going to be great because we're going to have pretty soon we're going to have a competition, and I think you guys will really enjoy practicing with that 24/7 simulator. Anyway, let's jump in, and we've got Jack first, and let's get him up and running here. Let's see, I think, is this one yours? No, you have Rob. Is that right, Jack?
I have Rob and Christoph. Yep.
Okay, all right, excellent. So let's get started here, and we'll go full screen. Take it
who
away.
Do we have? Neither of them are in the chat right now, so we'll just briefly go over them. We won't spend too much time on them. Let's go to the second image here. I really want to highlight this second image there.
This one here?
Yes, that one right there.
Okay.
So what's really great about this is we've seen this approach from Slowdown where he takes whatever his strategy is or his checklist is, and he kind of embeds that in his image. Rob did a great job here, kind of emulating that approach, but he keeps it in a secondary image. I really like that concept. We can clearly see exactly what he's looking for from the order flow, so he's got a good idea of what he wants to see and how to set it up. Now, in this particular one of the things that I was kind of curious about is his entry. You can go off this into the first chart if you would, please, Bruce. You could see his entry was a little different. Also, I think that he's flipping it, like he's expecting to be short at this case. So like it's just a flipped. That would be kind of confusing if you're coming back at this, 6, 7, 8 months from now. So you might want to indicate, reversal long or reversal short and have a similar image for both. That will just help you from getting confused at what strategy you're using. Because at first glance, if I'm having to look at the strategy chart and then map it to the order flow in Bookmap, that might not be visible as clear, several months from now, right? So there's a little bit there. Now, in Rob's little blurb that he said before his trade, he notes, and I'm quoting this, he hesitated. And the other thing he said is spastic dragging of his runner. And we can really see that spastic dragging of the runner. And we'll get to that one in a little bit. But what I actually want to focus on here is his stop. So we see that his stop is not spastic. So he's letting his runner go, but he's maintaining where his stop is. And that's really the crucial part of scaling in and out of a trade. It's where your stop placement is. If your runner gets hit a little early, yes, that's bad from where you want, but you don't need to worry too much about dragging it around. Take a beat, take a breath when you get a sharp impulse move down, look at the order flow, trust yourself, then move your take profit, your runner. And we can see that when it comes to a stop, he's got that approach, right? Because he's clearly moving it to very specific locations where he's looking at order flow, right? He's just above the swing high on a stop as that impulse pushes down. Then he stays literally at the swing high, and then he moves down to just a couple of ticks above the next swing high when he sees one, right? So he's clearly setting where he wants his trailing stop. You need to do the same thing with your take profit. Your trailing stop is where you're going to save your losses. Your take profit, you want to be aggressive with it. You want to let it kind of go to a clear target, or in your case where you're not sure that clear target is, just let it run. Let your trailing stop save you in this case, because once you get that reversal, literally the trade you're looking at to the other side, you know where to behave, right? You know where to get out of the trade. So that's something to kind of pay attention to there. I do not like seeing ever a take profit move back up, because at that point you're no longer reading order flow at all. You have no concept of what you're doing. If you're going to turn around, move it up, and then turn around, move it right back down, right? You're just guessing at that point. If you're going to move it up, put it directly in line with where the previous swing was. So we get that strong impulse down in his NQ chart here. He moves his runner, panicked, and he gets a pullback, and now he's not sure where to put it. Well, where you put it is literally right where the previous impulse move down was, because it's very likely you're going to have some sort of interaction there, and it's fine to move it there if you want, and that's where you want to get out of the trade and stuff. Other than that, leave it extended, leave it where you think it is, and then find the liquidity in the map, find the key level that you're trying to focus on, take your time, and execute it there. David, I thought you'd kind of really like this one because of the way he's really diligent about his stop, but like his
Big time.
take profits is all over the place.
It's a little over the place, but still good trading all the same.
Yeah, it's a good trade.
It is, yeah. If I segue from this morning, you're probably fast asleep. But within, Discord, you're in with me, that guys often ask me exactly what I'm doing with my take profits, what I'm doing with my stop loss. And I did a video this morning of getting towards the end of the London rally. And it's not about Dave necessarily, but what traders mostly commented on wasn't necessarily about what I was doing on the profit side. They were like, okay, that's how you're dealing with your stop. And exactly what you're saying there, Jack. It's about getting that right. You've got to get that right for sure. So
because this is a winning trade. Like once he's got his first movement on his stop, like this is a winning trade. It's not a losing trade at this point.
Not at all. No.
So I think that like you can really see like he's paying attention to where his stop is, and he's got a really good idea for that. He just, like you said, had no idea what he wanted to do with his take profit. And sometimes you just let it run, right? You let your stop be where you're going to end up getting out of the trade, and you let your runner just go forever until you see something that's, stand out.
Big time. Agreed. And to add into that, I think we touched on it a little bit last week. As well as that, think of also, I'm going to say it, Bruce, I'm afraid already. Gee, it's only sort of like 5 past. Time of day. So if we're coming into a London close, we're coming into the New York close or news or so forth, whilst you're looking at the order book, or I'm looking at the order book, and I'm looking at liquidity and all the other bits of voodoo and witchcraft I look at, the time of day can make me really tighten in my stops because I don't want to get crushed while all that noise, all that stuff unwinds. So sometimes bear that in mind as well.
Now, in the third image he's got here, directly below, he links his trader map image. The thing is, the way the image is cropped, Rob, here, I'm not real sure what's going on. So when it comes to your journal and stuff, I think that you want to make sure that you either have annotations or there's got to be some reason for this, and try not to crop the time out of your images. Time and price. Those are the two things you really want to make sure are in every image, because this image could get, mixed up with a different day. In fact, this might be mixed up with a different day. I can't tell because there's no reference on the image itself, right? None of your annotations match from where I would think they would be to here. I don't know if you've compressed the timeline or what. So when you're listening to this later and some of the feedback that I've got for you in DMs, just pay attention to that and try not to overcrop your images. Now, if this was like an image in an image kind of thing, like a picture in picture, and you have like a line showing it, that's different. But generally speaking, this image means nothing to me. I included it specifically to call that out. So
it looks, Jack, it looks to me like it's the same, his same trade. So he short up here, took some down here, and got stopped out up here. Looks like it. I'm not sure, but it looks very similar.
That's it, right? Like we can infer to a degree, but like it would be better if it was just very clear, right? Like very concrete. This is where it is. I think that it's just compressed and like it's just a different like skew for the chart. I think that you're right. I think it's the same one, but we shouldn't be guessing when we're making our journal entries, right? That's kind of the point here. We want to be explicit.
Yeah, good point.
Other than that, Rob, most of the stuff was the same as usual. I didn't really go through all of the trades over and over again because I don't want to give you the same feedback. You're doing a great job, buddy. I really appreciate the stuff. And I really, really like seeing the checklist images and stuff. I think that newer traders would really benefit that. So if you're just joining the academy or if you're just a new trader in general, the Learning Center in Bookmap has similar visuals. Slowdown's another great one that has similar visuals. The next trader that I'm going to cover actually has a similar visual as well. He just doesn't have it annotated in an external image like this. And it's another technical analysis guy. So if we don't have anything else, we can move right on to him if you want to jump in. Yeah, looks like we did. So this is Christoph. Now, what's great with Christoph here is I talk a lot about like second legs and using that. You get that bear flag or bull flag, and then you can set up for a nice entry on a breakout from there. Very similar to Dave's, opening range breakout in the first minute kind of concept. Same concepts, right? we're kind of some of the only that are like really looking at the technical analysis aspect at these key levels. What was really cool here with Christoph is he's looking at a head and shoulders pattern. And I've seen these a couple of times, and coming into the close today was actually a head and shoulders pattern. I'll link that in a couple of minutes here. But this was fantastic to see. Now, when you're doing these, I know I harp on, I like to see like you zoomed into order flow a little bit neater. I like to see your price axis a little bit neater and a little bit more zoomed in. When it comes to these kinds of patterns, though, this is when you do need to be zoomed out. So him being at the 15-minute time slice here, this is actually a really good concept because you need a little bit more of the time. While you can see these in smaller time frames, and I'll show you one that's in a 5-minute here, it does make it a little easier when you're in the 15-minute, especially if you have a large monitor to see those kinds of things. Same concept with second entries, looking for the pullbacks, the flag patterns, and some of that consolidation, right? You want to be kind of a little bit more zoomed out. So it's really important that you kind of zoom in and out on your chart. When you're taking your screenshots, take the appropriate resolution. Don't try to cram everything into a 16-inch screen. But make sure you're using Bookmap for its full value. Don't just get locked into like one thing and then never look left on the chart. Make sure you're panning and zooming, right? So other than that, the trade itself, there's a couple of critiques here. Generally, with the head and shoulders pattern, you want to take the break of the neck. I would classify this as a very aggressive head and shoulders because he says where he's in at 19,930 here, but that's actually still within the shoulder itself. So if you are using that, make sure like you're annotating like this is an aggressive head and shoulders kind of entry. Like I'm confident in this entry for whatever reason, for something I'm seeing in the order flow, for a footprint or something like that. Make sure you're giving context to why you're not taking the trade as like it would be more textbook oriented. Because this is probably 40 points in the range, I believe. Yeah, about 40 points. Almost 50 actually, when we get the break of the neck. So it's still a great trade overall. 600 ticks in NQ. Nobody's gonna quash that at all. So,
no.
but they're great. You can do these kinds of trades the same. You just need to take a step back and kind of look at Bookmap in a kind of different light. And Bruce does this a lot, and I rarely ever see other streamers or other content creators with Bookmap really moving their chart around and really looking at it. I'd really, really love to see that from people. I want to see stuff like this if you're looking for stuff like this, right? I think that it would be really helpful for the equities traders who use a lot of pivot points, being able to zoom out, look at some of those pivot points and see where your levels are actually hitting really cleanly, and then zooming back in and then seeing if it's still there. I think that would really stand out. So that's it for the most part I had here for Christoph. This is really the first time I've had a chance to get into his material. He's got a lot of similar material that I really, really like.
Nice.
So I'll be reviewing his charts either way, even if I don't get him next week, because I really like seeing some of those contents. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I had here. What do you got, David?
I like it. It's like exactly what you said there, Jack. And as you were digging into the start there, it's got that opening range bar for Laura and me. I know she's all over those these days. That sort of scoot down within the first 15 minutes is fantastic. You see that real change in the color of the volume bars going from red selling. They flip to green. A nice little tell on those on some of the charts I've got a little bit later on. It doesn't quite get to the liquidity that it was perhaps aiming at. Not unusual, he says, for NQ. And then we're off to the races. We're getting back to the V Park. We're getting back to the opening range. As you point out, you've got that head and shoulders pattern. Although more for me, I'm looking really just the higher lows that it's chiming away from there.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. Yeah.
A reverse head and shoulders. All it is a higher low. That's all it is.
Yeah. It's a lovely thing. Of course, my usual line about are we scaling, so to speak, trade management, everything else, David Bruce, and all the rest in between, sort of thing. But I know those skills we all start to hone as we spend more time at the screens. Over to you, Bruce, sir. You're sketching, I can see.
No. Yeah. Well, you started mentioning some of the volume and some of within the head and shoulders pattern,
Yeah.
the order
And it's
flow.
taking out liquidity as it's going.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, there's a lot here. Now it's the open, right? But
Yeah.
look at all this liquidity.
Yeah.
Look at all of this liquidity, and all the way up. It keeps going. And then we talked about this, like actually, let me go over here just to show, because from the Learning Center, if you guys haven't been there yet, or those watching, go to bookmap.com and then go to education. Now, we don't have too many setups and strategies in here. I've been meaning to get to this for, like, I don't know, quarter after quarter. And we only
You've got
have
nothing else to do.
I have nothing else to do. We put together the for the reversal, this kind of head and shoulders in the diagram form only, but starting to understand this kind of what I just want to show here. Sorry to take up time on this, but there's a transition, and this is really
usually
important.
see it in the color and size of
This transition here.
Yep. We're shifting from sell to buy.
Exactly. So look for that. This, and if these kind of concepts that you hear about, like with a Wyckoff, distribution, accumulation. Well, this is where this happens. It happens in the head and shoulders pattern in here, sell side. You can see it very clearly in the bars, because the bars are all horizontal here.
You could see it really well if you did the split orbs, because the majority of the orbs would be green on the peaks. But yeah, he's got the green or red, either or.
So,
but if you did the split,
yeah.
Really
so in terms of, like, well, even on the move down here, high liquidity getting filled on the way down. These are buyers. On the bid, they're getting filled. So there's just more supply taking it lower into these lower levels of liquidity. Look at the move up here. I don't see much liquidity up and through here, and we know there's buyers coming in. This is where that transition is taking place, and we see it again here, kind of confirming it, helping confirm that. And the buyers have taken control now, and then it just kind of grinds. I mean, it's a nice move, but then tons of liquidity getting filled up here. I imagine we probably went back and forth and probably went back down again. But my point is that with the pattern, look for the order flow. Understand the order flow within the pattern. That would be helpful.
Yeah. Yep. What was also really cool is he's also got an Elliott wave in there, so he's looking at a couple of different patterns in there, and he's really looking at the way they interact. I thought that was really unique to see. It's great to see people use the tool in a different way, because I see a lot of this stuff all the time, even though I don't necessarily trade it, right? Like, once you start seeing it, it's one of those things like you can never unsee it, kind of thing. So it's really great to see other people use the tool in kind of like novel and unique ways. And I really appreciated that from Christoph here.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's like, it's really, really funny, Jack. I mean, like you're saying, Elliott wave. Well, here's wave one, here's wave two, here's your, this is classic, wave three, kind of like this. And then, you get your breakout into five up in here. Something like that. But anyway, if you're Elliott wave trader, look at the order flow within it. Probably be helpful.
There's a same trade that just literally set up at the end of the day on that rip. Same concept. The entry is where it's marked. I just put it in the Academy chat if you want to pull that up.
Sure.
And the difference between the two is sorry, Darty, I will fix the time for you. It's a 2-minute time slices. But you can see the difference is you want to take that entry at the break of the neck, because anything before that, you're technically not fulfilling that head and shoulders pattern. So just be aware of that.
Oh, actually, Jack, that might be my fault as well. In here, I was pretty aggressive with this. saying that if you start to
Oh
see
yeah.
the shift in the change in here, and you get like a low volume pullback on this, you can look, but you'd have to be kind of aggressive with your profit taking to take some off up here.
And there's nothing wrong with aggression. I'm definitely one of the ones who is a bit aggressive sometimes when I'm trading. I think David is as well. So I don't mind an aggressive trade. The thing with aggressive trades is you need to mark on your journal that it's aggressive. And you'll see if you go through my content, you will see that I specifically say this was aggressive, right? I want to address that right off the bat, because when I go to read it again, I'm going to go, okay, yeah, this was really aggressive. I know what I was doing here. And it's going to start to click better. But if you're like, that should have been a head and shoulder pattern. Why did I enter there? Because you never annotated that. It's really important. So, yeah, you're totally right.
I don't.
That's a great entry.
I'm sorry, I don't see the image you're talking about, Jack.
I put it in the Bookmap Academy stream chat channel. I can send it to you directly if you prefer that.
I in the stream chat.
You might not know how to get to it. It is going to be in your DMs in 3 seconds.
Okay.
2, 1, there it is.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
There is not a time there. Thank you, Darty, for calling me out. I greatly appreciate that. But you can still see the same setup, right? Like it looks almost identical to what we were seeing in the before image, right? You want to take the break of the neck, which is basically where the start of the 2 shoulders basically is. And then you can take that entry there. And from there, you're just looking to go long to a directional location, wherever that is. So you'd probably aggressively follow your stop with it. In this particular case, going into the close, you're probably just going to front run whatever level. Probably, I want to say 5,700 SPX is probably the best level at this point before we started fading. So that's probably where I would have done. And you just got to map your levels from ES to index. But those key levels, those even number levels, they always stand out. So it's a great place to front run a target. But it's the exact same pattern. So, but that's all I had for these 2 today. Alan's the third, and I will message him directly later on.
Okay.
So we can go to the next guy.
Okay. So let's go.
While you're doing that, Bruce, I'm just going to ramble on to Darty. So nice to see newer traders in. I think he's one of the newer guys. Apologies if you're not. You've been here for years. So we often talk about these sort of opening trades and so forth, and we've all got our own take on it and setups and everything else. But it's certainly a part of the day for me where I'm really keen to knock one out pretty quickly. Now, whether the analogy is sort of a tennis game, you can see on the NQ I posted there. Most of you are familiar with my tick charts that I'm using. You saw the ES earlier on. The market sort of settles within those first seconds and minutes. It goes up, it goes down, etc., etc. Sure, there are days when it just goes off in one way, like a spanked dog or a cat or whatever. But most of the time, you get that yin and a yang. You get a couple of failures, as you can see on that NQ chart there, Darty, and then off it goes. And those are the trades I love to get in early on too. There's other things I'm looking at, of course. I'm looking at Bookmap and bits and bobs. But those early trades, I know Jack's all over, I'm all over. But again, there's traders here who aren't, which is also perfectly fine if you're not going to give it a go. Valley fan, are you with us, sir? There's a lot of noise on my chat. You're quite right, Jack.
You guys can see my screen, right?
I can see your screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Valley fan's in here. So let's get him on the mic.
Fantastic. Yeah, he's got a couple of trades here and a nice journey of sort of a longer time chart of the M30, then the M1, and then we see the meat and potatoes of the bookmap chart.
Hey, David.
Yeah. Hi, fella. How you going?
Good.
Excellent. Good day, good week, all that stuff in between?
Yeah. The week's been really good. So not too many complaints, just a lot of choppiness I've seen this week.
Yes, some violent swings. Yeah, particularly today I felt, but maybe it's just me. But
Well, I even yesterday before noon, or like right around noon, there was like some pretty crazy swings that were going on NQ and ES. I was like, what is happening?
Real violent moves. And sometimes with no volume to go with it. I try and say volume rather than vol, because if I say vol, then the option boys will wonder what I'm talking about. So Right, talk us through some nice trades here and some nice honesty.
Which one is this?
This is on MNQ or your NASDAQ trade. We start off with a 30-minute, and you're sort of showing up how we get the failure at the top.
Okay, so yeah, higher range day, inside day, looking to go long at R3 or S4. Is that the one where I tried to go long at S3 and no, that was the one I missed.
No, you did
S3 because it didn't give an opportunity, and went long at S4.
That's it.
So here's
I'm sorry, I'm just on my phone. I can't see it very well.
Okay. This is you got your 30-minute chart here on the top, and then here in the middle you've got your M1, and then down below you got your book map.
Okay. So it looks like I took the entry there at S4, another place I'd like to go long, because this trade didn't even offer an entry at S3, another place that I would like to go long to try to take this trade behind all that any type of buying was picked up. So waited till S4, got down there, started to slow down a little bit, and then hit my level, went just a little bit below, but then kicked back really hard. And I took a pretty early entry on it. I should have waited for that new 1 minute high, but I took a little bit early, but it never really fell back against me after that.
Yeah. Remind us what you stopped.
And then it took off.
Got to jump in there.
Lower day. Well, no, I'm sorry, 30 points. It'd be 30 points on NQ is where my stop is right now.
Okay.
To give it some room.
Yeah, that does.
Just in case it tries to consolidate there and then throws a spring or something. I try to give it a little bit of room.
That's a lovely hammer candle you got in there. Respect. As you rightly say on the chart there, Bruce, you can see at the S3 level that it didn't even notice S3. Further up on the
it just went right by it.
The lights weren't on that one. No.
And that's like the difference of when I'm looking for an entry and when I'm taking an entry. It's just not because it's at a cam level, I'm just going to automatically take the entry. I need to see the other things running through my checklist. I need to see the buying. I need to see that something is there saying, no, we're going to stop this right here, or at least give some sort of indication that the buying is picking up or that it might reverse.
And as you point out, it's the same on the bookmap chart, Bruce. You've got that change of the volume bars. Second time I'm saying that today. It's red selling, then bang, it goes green. Yeah. There's definitely a change of mood music. Good segue, Bruce. Thank you.
Just a lot of selling right through S3. We hit S4, and that's immediately when we start to reverse. So it gave me a really good entry, and I was even able to hold on for a little bit longer to try to get my partials even further down, because it had just come down so fast and then reversed. I put my orders just up at the swing highs, and I got some great partials up there, really high.
Fantastic.
Really quick.
Yeah, no, beautiful. When I know it's the sort of Monday morning quarterback things from myself and Jack and Bruce, when the price has steamed through the S3, do you ever think of going, I'll take a short here? Or is that's not my checklist, David? Go away.
It just watching cams and taking entries around cams so long, it never even offered an opportunity. I was never even interested, just because I'm watching Bookmap. It's just red. It hits the level. There's no interaction whatsoever. It doesn't respect it. So that's red flag one. No respect of the level. And so I'll just wait for my next one. Just be patient. Sit back and wait.
From that, agree with you. From that, do you not then think, okay, it's not respecting the level on the sell side, I'm going to be tight and get in and short this? Or you always looking for this?
S3 is a level for my trade book. S3 is a level that I buy.
Okay.
So I don't try to short there, because R4 is one of those levels where you can buy on one day or you could sell on another day. And it becomes really difficult at times to know when you need to buy or when you need to sell. And so I just leave that for the fours. I'm only buying on S3 and I'm only selling on R3, and I just leave it like that.
Love it, buddy. It sounds like I'm trying to bust your balls here. I'm not. This is brilliant. This is brilliant here, Bruce, because what he's coming back at me for rightly. He's got, look, I've got a checklist, David. It's, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
Oh
Fantastic.
no, not at
You know.
all. Well,
No,
my
no, no,
my
no. It's good. It's good.
my mentor is Thor that did
Yeah.
a pro trader webinar just recently.
Okay.
So, these are all plays from his books and just
Brilliant.
learning from him, playing them over and over and over. Like I just know now. I don't need a written checklist. I just know. I know what my checklist is. I know what I need to see. I know what I want.
Fantastic. Very good. No, lovely charts. Great, great stuff. I don't know if Jack's sorted out the dogs, but I was on about slapping around. Are you there, Jack? Maybe not. Maybe not. Over to you, Bruce, please, sir. you catch the ball.
Yeah. I don't I don't really have too much to say. Really interesting stuff what Thor had said in the Pro Trader webinar. Like David said, like it just blazing through S3 here. You mean like you do get a little bit of bounce here, just before S3, but man, this is a strong move. Yeah, okay, you got high liquidity, you got your S4 zone, and then you got an amazing entry. But like, maybe go through your checklist and humor me. Like, to me, I don't see an order flow event in here yet to confirm this going long. Maybe we don't have enough a bigger picture. Maybe it was a swing from somewhere else previously. I don't know, or maybe it's the time of day. But man, I mean, you nailed it. And then you can even see, we were just talking about, kind of transition. Here it is, from sell side to this buy side in here, and then it's really pretty choppy for a while.
Well, it just comes from his book and everything he teaches. He has higher range days, so we're looking for the same continuation from the prior day. We're looking for to get the best entry at the lowest possible price for the continuation up higher, and S3 is the first opportunity for that. So you need to see the level tested one. It needs to hit to the penny to the level to be tested. Then you need a response that shows that that level is being respected and that there is somebody buying there, or there is an algorithm there that has started buying. And you need to see that buying coming in. Like you need to see the push off that level. You need to see some sort of response at that level. And if you don't get it, then you just don't trade it. And so your next opportunity then would be S4 to try to take an entry. And so I saw the response. It went right into that liquidity. And as soon as it hit it, S4, like to the tick, I saw some buying start to pick up and come in. And that's why I like to highlight this trade, was because I didn't see at all what I wanted to see at my cam level at S3. Like I just didn't even see it at all. So I just wasn't interested. But I saw what I've seen over and over at cam levels where I look for buying. I saw that at S4.
Got you.
So that's why I took the entry there. Get a really tight entry. And if it doesn't work out, well, then I'll just wait till S6 to try a buy again there. I want to see liquidity down there, and I want to see the same thing over and over. That the level is hit to the penny, that there is something there, it is being respected, and then I am seeing the buying then picking up for me to take another entry.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. So you got in your checklist, then you've got, on the bid, high liquidity, on the bid, high liquidity, but you had no aggressors. You had your level, your S3. You had no aggressors, though, on the other side. You did not see buyers. Stand back, you wait, you look for your next level. You got high liquidity. Now you got your higher time frame level, and you're looking for the buyers to come in, and you're very, very aggressive on an entry. I guess I'm sure you probably saw some buying coming in that justified, like, okay, yeah, I can get in now. And you can't maybe see it on this chart, but like, because I know exactly what you mean. Like, if like, okay, I'm getting some response here. I know what it looks like, and I'm willing to take a shot at it at this point. And just something like, I'm just curious because it seems like if it's going to blaze through something like this, I'm just curious on your partials. Would you really think that it's going to rebound right back up to here pretty quickly? And maybe if so, then why would you? I'm just kind of curious. I'm not trying to, like David say, bust your balls here on this, but like,
Oh no, no.
consider like maybe moving it up a little bit higher and taking your partial up here, like you did here.
Mhm.
But maybe even move that one up. So maybe take a couple partials up here or something.
I think it's still that for that I want to get at least that one partial because then I can move my stop to break even. I'll leave my stop at that 30 points.
Okay.
Even if it gets up there and almost to it and it comes back, if it comes back and stops me out, it'll stop me out from the 30-point loss. But once I take that first partial, then I move to break even.
Okay.
And that's just another repetitive thing that I've done for so long now. And so it's just, I like to get that one partial at that next swing high. And now I can move my stop to break even. So I know I have some sort of profit on this trade. It comes down, stops me out at break even. I can take another entry.
Okay.
It's always a good feeling. Always a good feeling.
Yeah. So it may be more of a comfort thing.
That's cool.
Okay.
But yeah, I really aimed high for these partials though. So I just put them in, on NinjaTrader. I just threw the partials in at those swing highs and it got to them pretty quick.
40, 50 points on it anyway. So first partial respect.
Yeah, it's a fantastic reaction out of the zone here. I don't know if Jack came back. Let's see if he has any.
Yeah, I'm here.
comments.
I was
Okay.
muted.
We were looking for you earlier. If you have any feedback,
I was
or
muted.
comments.
I was talking and you guys kept talking, so I stopped talking. Because I thought
Okay.
I thought you guys were talking.
Rude.
Yeah. It wasn't until you said, I don't know if Jack's back, that I was like, oh, well, maybe they never heard me. So yeah, this is one of the classic setups that I saw from Veilfan. The big issue here is again, like, he's in the 15-minute time slice. He might have seen order flow there, but when you're zoomed out like that, especially in NQ, that thing could have chopped, 5-6 points right there, and all the order flow is just evaporated because it's, you're so zoomed out, right? So when it comes to entries and stuff like this, especially something that's maybe, a longer trade because you want to show some of your partials and stuff, I really do think that, zooming in and showing like a picture-in-picture or even a secondary picture or something is really kind of useful because other than that, it just looks like a naked, okay, I'm going long off S4, which, hey, if that's your strategy, that's great, but you don't need anything but a line chart in a horizontal line tool to do that, right? So that's one of the limitations here. Overall, I didn't really dislike your partials. I thought that, maybe your third one was, I would have split that in two personally. I don't know how many contracts you had here or if you were in futures itself. Because that last partial there, right, that's just back to the swing high. So everything you've got shows support at this point to potentially push a little higher. So I probably would have split that last partial in half, honestly, and tried to get out for the last little bit. Actually, your arrow's to the side. So it's a good ending. That's where I wanted it, yeah. I thought your arrow was below.
No, I didn't take that partial again at that next swing high.
Yeah.
I went for that liquidity that was even up there further.
Yeah.
To try to get that one up there.
One of the other things, so like I see that you closed out. Did you trail out? Did you get trailed?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Well, it was hanging around kind of where I was wanting to stop out.
Okay.
And then the selling had started to pick up. I was seeing a head and shoulders pattern.
I did the same thing an hour ago.
And it kept hitting S3, and it wouldn't break above higher. And I'm like, well, that's starting to become some resistance.
Yep.
So I just set the partial up there at S3. It hit it, and I got out.
I do that all the time. I did not want to wait. So I had a couple of put spreads on, and for every put spread, it was $1,000 wide. And I did not want to wait for the extra $5 that I could have made for it, and I just moved my take profit. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. When you're wanting to get out of a trade, it's time to get out of a trade. Don't linger around. Don't sit there and let it go to your exact target. Just get out of the trade. You you already don't want to be in it. So if it reverses on you, you just feel worse, right? So nobody wants that juju. So yeah, I totally agree there. Other than that,
I figured that was the best exit I'm probably going to get, just
I
since
would
it's on the
definitely
other
zoom
side
in
of
a little bit
S3.
here though, because this is a falling knife in NQ. It does not respect levels very well. It's not the kind of thing that I'm going to catch a falling knife on. Not in naked shorts, right? Like not with actual futures contracts. With an option contract, maybe, but this is a move. Like this is not a small move. This is 210 points or something, right? What is that? Yeah. 210 points. Holy shit, nailed it. Called it.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's no shot I'm stepping in front of a 210 point move on NQ and then going long on it.
We've learned something today then, Jack, haven't we?
Yeah, like you just don't do that, right? So I know it's a level, but man, this is a ballsy trade, honestly. This is like giga aggressive. So
I mean, and there's misses on this stuff too, but it's not. I'm not. It's the one entry right there at S4. I didn't see it on S3. I didn't get what I wanted, so I waited till S4, and then I saw
but
what
still,
I wanted.
like, I don't even know what you were looking for there because 15-minute time slice, I can't even see it, right? I mean, you've basically scaled 3 minutes of trading into a tiny dot, right? So like you could have seen like amazing chop. You could have seen like a fractal pattern that we saw earlier that sets up for the reversal. But when you're zoomed out like this, I don't see it. All I see is literally me trying to catch my 5-year-old jumping off the roof and hoping I get there in time, right? So not the play, in my opinion, but it is your risk. So at the end of the day, I mean, that's what matters, right? So if you're happy with it, that's good. But from what I want to see on a journal, this ain't it.
Okay, so just more zoomed in to some of my entries and stuff.
For your entries especially.
Okay.
And also like in your, I don't know if you specifically said it, but in your exit, right? Like you exited at S3, but you told me that that wasn't your intention. So what I want to know is that information in your journal entry? Because that's where it needs to be, right? Like it's great that I asked you the question, but that should be something that you want to document automatically, right? Like, why did I get out of this trade? Why did I get into this trade? Those are the two most important things. After that, like we're nitpicking essentially, right? So sorry to jump in with Bruce there, but yeah, from the teacher, you're getting a little scolding, honestly.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me
that's
at
the
all.
whole point. That's the point of the process, though. So
I think you know that by now. Like that's stuff. When you push me to be a little bit better, I try to be a little bit better.
And like I liked your answer, right? With why you got out. If you don't like a trade, get out of the trade. That's a great answer. But put it on your sheet, right? Like put it down in your notes because that's where the answer matters. And you'll see that I just got out of the trade because I didn't like it, and I'll literally put that on my note because when I go back, like I don't want to sit there and try to figure out why I got out of the trade because then you're gonna like if you look at this chart, you're like, oh yeah, I got out because of S3 right there, but that's not accurate. You got out because you didn't want to be in the trade anymore, right? So when you're reviewing your order flow later, So anyway, dead horse. We've kicked the shit out of it. So
let's get the next horse up, please, Bruce. We've got an R3, R4, so it's similar sort of trading.
To the stables we go.
The stable we go. It's Seabiscuit. Let's get Seabiscuit up, please, Bruce.
Around the turn.
So you've got one failure where you were trying to get in an R3, which is good to share, and then you nailed it on SR. Yeah. On S4.
Yeah, it hit my stop, and then it got to my next level, S4, where I'd look to short on this day, and then I saw again what I wanted to see. Just too zoomed out.
Yeah. Whatever you wanted to see right there, I see one dot. So I'm sure there's probably some really good order flow that would have been indicative of a potential short setup. But I can't see it, right? And that's the point of the journaling process is, while it's great this is a great visual for an overview. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on there. That's 10 minutes. That's 10 minutes of order flow in NQ. So that's tough to see.
Lifetime.
Yeah. So continue on, David.
Yeah. So remind me your time. Your New York time. You're an hour behind.
All my charts are on Eastern Standard Time.
Okay. So we're not quite at the London close.
No,
But
but
it's
the London close definitely helped me out a little bit as it started. But then once it did close, we bought up some, but I still ended up getting some more partials after it had closed.
Yeah, that's the sneaky lunch move after the close. There's actually a journal article written about it. It's a real thing. People are actually studying it. Yeah.
Oh,
When the
I'm
London
starting to pay a
closes.
lot. I've been paying a lot more attention to it over the last month.
Yeah. I'll
Brilliant.
get that
And
article
just
for people if they
being
want
aware and watching while it's
At
happening, even
times.
if I'm not in a trade.
No. This trade, did you spend all the time at the screen? Because it's you held it for quite a while. It's more of a swing trade, says me, as a scalper, isn't it?
I became a moderator at Bear Bull Traders, the community that I belong to, and I was actually
Okay.
teaching a bookmap class while this trade was going on.
Okay.
And I set my targets at swing lows. So while I was in the class, so I could teach and talk, I just went ahead and set my targets, set my stop, and it just kept hitting on them during the class. I was like, oh, all right, another one. All right, another one. So I wasn't watching the trade as much like as I normally would if I was just trading. I just had those targets set at those swing low areas.
I know that I'm going to speak for David here, but some of my best trades are the ones I've put on and walked away from.
Yes.
When you set it up, sometimes it just works. Staring at the chart ain't going to help you any. Sometimes, like, put the order in and pray. You know.
Well, for me, it can be those overnight ones can be like that. Sorry.
Oh, the Asia to London. Oh, it's a dream time.
It's a dream.
I can see we got John in. We're going to say so John has joined us from, I always say, New Jersey, New York State. John, so welcome. Good to see you back, buddy. Because he joins me, as I've mentioned to you all before, in the middle of the night, middle of the day, middle of that sort of stuff. Yeah. So on the partials again, similar sort of thing. It's easy to be that Monday morning quarterback, isn't it? And saying, if you'd only held that all down to 1 o'clock, etc. But I'm totally with you in terms of putting money in the account and so forth. Trying to see your stops on here, where you moved your stops down. Are they you're trading on Ninja Trader and then you're just copying the trades into here? Okay.
Yeah. I just go back and replay the trade just so I could get the markers in the right spot, so you can see where my partials were at.
That's a lot of due diligence. I appreciate that effort. I really do.
Well, you guys said it helps you help me more. So if it helps you help me more, I don't mind doing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's still really good. I assume you're still following your standard, like follow behind the swing highs in this case because it's a short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I would have no problems with this. Your last partial is really, really great. You really caught the last liquidity down there at the bottom. So I mean, I don't know what that level is because it's kind of cut off on the screen here, but nothing wrong with that. If you'd have missed it again, like you've still got another second shot there before you eventually get that, reversal. So really, really great setup there overall. I don't have any critiques other than it's just zoomed out, right? So this is great for an overview image, but for your journal and stuff, if you want to like reflect on this or like really like teach to the material, you really need to have that dialed in and a little bit to where you can see that.
Okay.
But yeah, that liquidity right there is exactly what I was talking about. Also lines up with that 150 level. Again, one of those like standard kind of like every 50 points, here's another level that, you'll find liquidity at something, right? So.
Yeah, and I'm getting better to where if the swing highs or swing lows are near a 100 or a 50 level, I'll just put my order there. I'll move it up if I can get it closer to one of those hundreds or 50 levels. Because
I front run those ticks a lot, just right at the level. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. So great setup.
Yeah, very good. The other thing to add in, it's my usual, and Bruce will slap me around a bit in terms of sort of evolving trade skills and so forth. On those trades where they're starting to move, what I do, and I know Jack does as well, you've taken some partials, which is great. But as the trade, you can see the points adding up, you actually then start to scale back in, particularly when it's starting to move at pace. Now, whether that was at 12 o'clock or something, post-London close, you think, actually, I've got one running now or two running. I'm going to spank in another two or three. I'll have a few points to play with, tightening my stop, and just roll the dice with the market's money.
Mhm.
If that
Yeah,
makes
I've
any
I've
sense.
actually scaled back from adding lately, and
Okay.
I don't have a reason why. I just
Yeah.
have. Because I look for specific things to add
Mhm.
and specific areas. I like specific moving averages that I like to look at, and I want to
Nice.
see something. And I don't know if it's just because I'm not seeing what I want, or if I
Okay.
just haven't thought about it. But there's no reason why I haven't been
Yeah.
like lately, other than I'm just not seeing what I want for an ad
Mhm.
and just letting the trade run with me. I'm pretty
Yeah.
happy with a trade that takes off like this, and
Scaling in futures can be really, really tough. It can just be really tough, especially because right now, especially like there's no real clear direction I feel in the market. Like we could be in this range until the end of October, and I would not be surprised. Right? We could just be oscillating around these all-time highs
Yeah.
until that
Yeah, that's
point.
fine.
But like because I don't have a direction, like it's really tough for me to like lean into a trade that's already getting to my next levels, right? At that point, I'm now starting to take risk off because everything that I'm seeing with respect to order flow, options, spot dom, all of it is just showing me like there's not real appetite for like a directional move past what we're seeing. And it's just really, really tough. So
That's because
it's
you're trying to hold it for more than 5 minutes, Jack.
sure,
That's the thing.
sure. Yeah, I try to reach the 6-7 minute mark occasionally, and that's a long trade for a lot of people. Yeah, but it's just one of those things where if we were starting to trend a little bit more cleanly, or if we had like a good direction, I'd feel more comfortable adding in. But I haven't been adding in like the last 2 weeks in indices.
Okay.
In stocks, I've been adding in, but that's levering up
That's
with
different,
contracts as opposed to futures. And at
yeah, I
worst,
haven't
you're
even
just
been
short shares.
adding much in equities either.
Yeah.
And it's just I don't know. I mean, maybe things change. I start seeing what I want to see to add into a trade.
Well,
But
see,
usually I like to get good profit out of it real quick first, and then I'm trying to look to add. Especially if I'm willing to just go out at break even, I don't mind adding.
well,
But there's
the
other times that
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
grinding through the trade. And I'm like, can I get some profit out of this thing? Like I don't
the
know
big
yet.
difference with equities, though, remember, is it's still a weekly contract if you're using options.
Hmm.
If you're using shares, you just have the shares overnight. But with futures, you get mark to market. So like you've got to pay attention to mark to market in general. I don't know if any of you actually do pay attention to mark to market. But if you're holding these positions for some time or some of these options, right, you can risk being short or long them as the day passes because you're just paying theta at that point. But if you're like using 0DT options for futures or you're using spot futures, you're now marked to market at the end of the day.
You'll be twitching.
So yeah, it's a wholly different kind of ball game in that perspective. So that's why I kind of haven't been. Whereas like if I'm short futures due to a long put or short equities due to a long puts, I'm not really concerned about it because today's Thursday. I got tomorrow to kind of get rid of it, right? I
Hmm.
could sell a put to make it a covered put essentially. I could accept short shares there and then buy them back just naked. There's all kinds of solutions there, but mark to market with futures is a bit rough, especially if you've never done it before.
That's good. Sounds good. I obviously play it a bit more simple, as you guys know. It's a case of entering in with one or two, seeing how it's going, and then just quickly adding in, and then getting out. But yeah, different styles. Different
Yeah,
styles. Bruce.
if you can lean on the gas, you like to lean on the gas.
I do, as I did into the closes.
Or pour
as
the
we spoke.
gas, in fact, sometimes if you can.
Hey, I like that. I like that too, David. Like I like
Yeah.
to, if a trade's going really well and I feel like I'm reading order flow and price action really well and I'm seeing what I see, I don't mind to like even go halfway through a trade to go back into full size.
Brilliant.
And I'm like, okay, I'm really seeing the direction. Like this thing's really holding like it should. I'll just go back to full size and then push it all the way right to target.
Love it. And particularly, like, again, it's not just how we trade, I trade, you trade, so to speak, but towards the end of the day, a couple of posts John would have seen. John did a couple of great posts as well, all day long. Bruce, I've had a good day. I'm feeling quite relaxed about it. So my risk appetite is a bit higher. So I am pushing that envelope in terms of getting in and then scaling in and being happy, not say happy, but if it comes back and I get out with break even, burgers and fries, as Tom will say, I'm not that bothered about it because I knew I was rolling the dice. It was more of a gamble than a trade, more of a punt than a trade.
Yeah. Sometimes I just look at like an opportunity. You know, I look like, wow, I've gotten a lot out of this trade. If I'm willing to go in and break even right now, I can really start to add into this thing, you know, and really like try to push it down to those targets where I think it's going. And, you know, it has to make sense for me. Like, it's just not like, oh, I got a few partials now I can add because I'm just going to add. No, are there targets down there? Am I getting the price action I want? So let me take advantage of it right now.
Yeah. And if I was fair to say about one I'm adding in, was a guy, Cesar, who's up next, laughing about me saying spanking in. It's when the market is moving at pace, and that's happening a lot now. So I can see that on my tick charts. I can see it on Bookmap. I can see it on the DOM. I know it's moving, and it's like, yeah, get in and get out. If the market's just ranging along or meandering along, whatever phrase I need to use, then that's not a good time to spank.
Yeah.
I need to move on from this pretty quickly.
Yeah, you got in on the trade. You're getting the price action you want and the momentum you want. You're like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure I know where this thing's headed. So let me add a few extra dollars to my profits today.
And we saw that
really
just in the close, because I was pre-call. Some of you are probably on it, and it was moving really quickly. You saw the iceberg post that I shared earlier on to Stephen, who'd asked about it, and that was like, it's only going one way. Jack was on about 200,000 volume or something going through, massive. It's going to go up, so just get in. Oh, I'm in the money. Add. There's risk of that, of course, but I think it's lower risk, says me.
Yeah, I agree. I try to be that way too when I can.
Good man. Good stuff.
Valley, I think a couple comments here. Number one, just I love that you are you know your plan really well. You're looking at your pivot levels and you're looking at order flow events around your pivot levels, and then you're from that point on you are managing, and this is exactly the same thing. I mean, like again, like Jack said, like kind of, I find it scary. You know, the way that this is trading with a lot of momentum here, but you know what you're looking for. You know, it's touching your level, and you're looking for a reaction. And you also know that there's high liquidity. It's hard to see. There's high liquidity here. There's high liquidity here, and you know, you know that's up there. You're at your level. It touches it. Now you're looking for the sellers on the other side, and then that's where once you start to get a feel for that, this is your setup, and then you're looking for it to go down to a certain area. I'm a little confused on, so I get the entry. I understand, and you're very consistent here. One comment about it as well, additional comment, is I love this higher time frame, because like we all had just noted, you know, here you're up at 270 up here, right? You're hold on, this tool out. Your R3 is down here at 200. You're talking a 70-point move, you know, and you know, this one down here, you know, now you're talking like, you know, 120-point. So pretty nice stuff on the higher time frame, and you're very consistent. You know what you're looking for. You got your S4 order flow event, sellers starting to come in, and then you're managing. So great job on that. I understand why you entered. I think if we zoomed in, we'd probably see it. This one's not quite as good, I think, compared to the other one, because there's a lot lower volume down here, as you can see, on that sell side. But the other one, you saw that transition. You don't really see the transition to sell side until you get, you know, right around here, and that's pretty choppy looking. Yeah. Anyway,
Well, I also will say, like, sometimes I'm more proud of the entries I don't take and that I don't bite on than I am even sometimes on a really good trade. Like on the ones that I'm looking for, I'm looking to take an entry, I want to get in. I'm not seeing everything that I want to see, so I don't take the entry. And sometimes a trade, will start to go my way and then it doesn't, or it just blows past, what my stop would have been. And I do take pride in that. Like I do take pride in I didn't bite on that one. I didn't see everything
right.
that I wanted to see on that one. And it helps me more confident and getting trades like this after I've seen everything that I want to see.
That's great. That's great to hear. And that's hard because you want to get in, you want to trade, you don't want to
Hmm.
miss out, but it wasn't giving you what you wanted,
Hmm.
so you pass. It's that's really great. Um, I just am a little confused still on the partials. I don't quite understand. I mean, okay, I can see here you've got liquidity from the bid. Again, back on the bid. Well, you have it here as well. And I don't really see anything here. Now you nailed these, all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you're hitting all the swing lows here. This one too. This one too. I mean, you're just nailing these. But how do you know that? Like, how do you know that?
I just put my orders in. I'm on a 1 minute chart for my entries. And then when I go to look for the areas I want to take partials, I get on the 5 or 15 minute chart and I just put it in where the low of that swing low was. So
Mm,
if we were going up and we, popped down and made a bull flag and went higher, I'll put it at the bottom of where like that bull flag was.
mm,
So it's just because that's where we found our last buyer. So I'm expecting like that buyer to still be there. And that would be the place where if we hit, if they're going to buy again, they're going to try to buy again.
yeah.
So all I do is I just click it onto the chart and leave it on the chart at those swing lows. Or if I'm long, I just put it right there on those swing highs and I just let the price get up there. And I make sure that there's liquidity there. If we're climbing up to it, it's a far way off. Is that liquidity coming back on? Is my partial in the right place? And I just leave it there
Mm,
until it hits. I'm like, this is where I want to take my partial because this is the last buyer. This is the last seller. This is where they were. This is where I'm going to expect them to be again. And just throw it right there on the chart, right at that area.
okay. Right. Some nice auction market theory there. Yeah, the only thing that I mean, just from the order flow side that I see at least is like this beautiful. I mean, you got your R3 and the breakout from it. This is where the buyers came in. You got liquidity here as well. It nails it, and you get a nice reaction off of it
Hmm.
too. I understand. I completely understand these two partials here. These two I don't get,
Yes,
nor this one.
sometimes it'll be we get close to that liquidity area and we come back up and it looks like it just missed my partial. Maybe it didn't break the low, so I may move it up at times to get to some of those lows. But I really try to target the lows and the highs of those ranges to just throw the order in there and just see if I can get that order filled.
Yeah. Beautiful stuff,
Very
Vi.
much. Very much.
Yeah, on stocks, I generally try to just do it manually. I just have the order targeted just because I've noticed that it'll hit those like whole dollar areas or some of those swing areas or large areas like prior day close and it will hit it. And it's almost like sometimes like just an explosion of volume, and you can get an extra 2, 3 to 5 cents on just hitting like the bid or the ask as soon as I see like a whole dollar level hit on the time and sales. I'll just hit the ask and it'll push through maybe 5 cents and fill me. And it's just something I've been doing for a long time now that I've had a lot of success with. And so on
Nice.
stocks, I usually try to do it manually. Just on futures, they just seem to really be drawn to those swings that I just set my orders there on the chart.
Mm,
And then I adjust them accordingly to price action. It got close, but it popped back up. Okay, maybe that buyer has moved up a little bit. Let me move my partial up a little bit just to make sure I get filled.
Yeah. Okay, right. Makes sense. Let's see. Any other comments? I think it's like Jack had to leave. And let's see here. Any questions as well? See, Dune Runner, Valley found a stop saved is money in your pocket. Be patient. Speaking to myself more. Okay. All right. Let's see. I think that's it for Valley fan.
It is indeed.
And let's see here. We can move on. And
Thanks, guys.
thank you. Really great
Good,
stuff.
Connor. Great,
Yeah.
great training.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Chat to you soon. Thanks.
And okay, we went over Caesar. No, we didn't go over Caesar.
Oh.
Did we? No, and he's in here. Great. I love it when that happens. Okay.
When people are here. Yeah.
Excellent. All right, Caesar, the mic is open, and David, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. I haven't said that yet, Dan, have I? I know you catches me out on that. How's your week been?
Well, it was good until I had to follow Valet fan there. That's going to be tough.
Big shoes to fill, fella, that's for sure. Don't worry, you've got similar trading here, haven't it, with the Camarilla levels, I think.
And this trade actually, yeah.
Fantastic.
And using them for confluence there.
Yeah. So this is one that didn't quite work out. So talk us through, and there's a good lesson learned here as well on it as well. So yeah.
Yeah. So here we had two entries. The first one there is at the first pivot level, which would be S3. And we started getting some wick, some really tight body candles, which start showing some consolidation, right? You can see it very nicely in the
I'm
in
sorry.
Bookmap as well.
Is this it here?
Yeah, exactly. That's
okay.
it right there. That's
All
the
right.
first entry.
Okay.
2 point stop as always. Got stopped out. So, but then we sold off right into an area where fresh buyers stepped in. Not only were there some already in the book, you can see on the Bookmap chart, but we had some liquidity, a nice block. That's textbook what I would want to see there. Also at the second standard deviation now, so I had multiple confluences.
Nice.
I was patient, and we got the exhaustion signal. Each dip down was just a small, tiny little red dot on Bookmap showing exhaustion.
Yep.
And yeah, we took off from there. Now we went to my level, as I combined pivots and with the standard deviations. We went to the standard deviation, but if you remember my trade last week, talked a lot about how the market would sell off into the lower standard deviation, the second one, and then reverse back up to the VWAP, right?
Yeah.
So I was very ambitious looking for that, and I didn't have, good risk management, let's say, by moving my stop, or actually I didn't move my stop, but at least taking a partial at the next standard deviation up higher.
Up here.
Yeah, exactly there.
Yeah.
And seeing that the buying really wasn't all that weak, the little green dots were pretty weak compared to the selling that was coming into it. So it's not like we had a clear shift in aggressors. Even the histogram shows very weak buying. So took my stop there. And yeah.
So I'm sorry. So on Bookmap in here, it looks like it's hard to see on the candles. So like you entered someplace in here. It looks like.
Yeah, at the second standard deviation in that area, exactly.
Okay, and then where was your stop out on? Because here's the candle; it just has the little red arrow on it. But your stop out was it? Did you get stop out?
I
break
believe
even?
yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So it didn't quite hit up here. You still saw some buyers, and didn't quite get to it in Bookmap here, but it did in your candlestick chart.
Yeah. And I mean, there was another exhaustion signal there showing a likely reversal, right, when the ask lifted, but the bid couldn't
Right here.
come up to it, and then from there it just fell apart, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
these are sort of ranges you're normally looking at in terms of you've got a 2-point stop loss and then say 4 or 5 point profit. Is that the sort of trade you're
Yeah,
looking to
that's
have? Yeah,
exactly it. That's
perfect,
been
perfect.
two
Yeah,
stop, five take profit. But again, it
yeah,
just the market dynamics of it's been really fighting me
yeah.
lately and getting the okay, is this going to be a VWAP day where
Hmm.
we trend down up or down with the VWAP, or are we going from one standard to
Yeah,
the deviation or from one lower standard deviation to the upper one, right?
yeah, yeah. Very much, very much.
Yeah.
It's a good setup. It just slapped you a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, poor trade management, I would say, being too greedy because again, the bookmap had the clear signal. This was not, if it was going to happen, it wasn't going to happen on this thrust anyway, the first
Yeah.
push up here.
Yeah, because the volume, when we look at the volume bars below the theme we've been talking about today, is pretty sort
Mhm.
of minuscule. I appreciate the large green bubble there, but the rest of it is pretty a non-event, isn't it? Although 1200
Exactly.
is quite high, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then I can see in the chat that you and Valley Fan sort of chat a lot, which is fantastic as trade buddies on this sort of setup. So you're honing each other's skills by the sound of it.
Oh, he's helped me more than I've helped him for sure.
That's good. Honesty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Have you tried this on anything apart from ES? Do you do it on NASDAQ or
No,
no?
I feel like if I want to, have a crazy adventure, I'll go on NQ, but I haven't been looking for any lately. Just the speed
Yeah.
it moves and like I can't the way it looks on my chart, I can't configure, my zoom settings, my scale settings to
Mm,
something I'm comfortable with. So I'm like, I think
sure.
that's enough for me to say no thanks.
Yeah. No, that's fine. No, that's good. No, good shouting, good trading. Back to you, Bruce, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think don't be so, hard on yourself here. There's a lot of really good things here, and uh, the only thing is you followed Valley Fan. So, there really you've got high liquidity all the way down. It's
Yeah.
getting filled. You've got your standard deviation. You got your pivot levels. You can see the wicks in here as well. And then, like you mentioned, you saw. Okay, so we got that on the liquidity side. So that's a lot. And like you said down here, and notice like just tons of liquidity. And then you notice the exhaustion in this area in here. The sellers aren't taking it. I think it's a great entry and a hard one too. Like I don't really see too many buyers coming in. They are lifting, and but after that exhaustion and after those things that you saw and mentioned there, and you got your higher time frame, uh, confluences there. Yeah, you could look for this, and some mismanagement. I don't know. I mean, like um, here's something, and Valley Fan had mentioned it. We've been talking about it forever in the webinars. Like here, right in here, this is where you had your last buyer in here, and then the sellers came in. You can look for a retest back to these levels in here, back to where it dropped from, right? And I always like, well, we can see it even in the candlestick chart. A lot of times you'll see the move back into, those kind of swings over here, or, you can't see it in the candle. You can't see where that volume came in and then drop, but it's going to be somewhere around in here. But anyway, we can see the buyers did move it back to there, and they tried. I don't know. I think we talked about it in the webinar earlier this week about hitting singles up into areas. Now, it's something to consider for trade management. You got high liquidity in here. It was pulled. There's a massive transaction here, though. Yet it kind of failed to really move the market, so it's probably an iceberg. And then, like you said, you had your exhaustion in here. I don't know. Like it's a tough one. We never know. That is
No,
it going to
good enough.
do? Is it going to do this? Um, and come up back into these levels up here, or is it going to come up here and like can't get through, and the sellers come back in? But I don't know. Just some ideas for trade management. Um, yeah. Instead of like holding onto kind of your line on the chart, just this area here more in line with some of the liquidity and the aggressors, where that last buyer was up here before the sellers took it back down. So I don't know, just some
Well, that's really
consideration.
helpful, Bruce. And I mean, those are the reasons and the nuances why I keep Bookmap, right? Otherwise, if
Mm.
just go back to candle trading. But
Yeah.
that's the exact kind of stuff that Bookmap's so great to see.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're here for, right? Is getting some insights from each other. Crash, Steven, Shark, Valley Fan, Dune Runner, DNT, Vinny. I mean, all you guys. It's uh, learning from each other, little nuances here and there, and thinking, oh, that's pretty interesting. Let's take a look at that. Let's
Yeah.
maybe it resonates with somebody.
Yeah. And just a little bit on the trade psych part, I probably that loser, if it hadn't happened, then I probably would have been thinking a little clearer and been like 5 points, but all of a sudden it's not 5 points anymore, right? It's only three, which, mentally starts skewing the way I'm approaching the trade when it should just be trading the chart. Nothing, each trade is individual, nothing to do with the previous one, right? It's also a mistake that I definitely made there.
But you've
Yeah,
learned from it. That's
yeah.
great.
Yep.
I mean, like here, like DNT. I think we were talking last time. DNT just made a comment here about the hitting singles part. I think I was talking with Rob, and then also Alan. Some years ago, we are talking with Alan about just build confidence, hit that single. You've got your setup. And where might it go? Well, I mean, first off, the swing here, but also where it dropped from there. And that will help you. Like, okay, I got this move. I got some of it. You'll kick yourself, of course, if it does this. But I don't know what to tell you. Like, just try to build the confidence. It's like, okay, I'll get this one next time,
Yep.
right? And you know, Valet fan, for example, well, he's taking his partials. That's how he's handling it. And then he's going from S3 to S4 or vice versa. So he's looking at much bigger moves. But that's his plan too. I mean, he's looking for that. But boy, he's taking partials all the way through. You know, so you'll find. I mean, hit singles maybe. It's just a consideration. Hit some singles, build that confidence, and then find out where it works for you. For Valley,
Yep,
he's
absolutely.
all in, and he's partialing out.
Yep.
David,
No, that's good. Very
jump
good,
in here.
Bruce.
Back me
Yeah,
up.
no, I am, sir. Very good. No, good trading. And I'll just echo those points, really, Bruce, about looking for singles. I know many weeks back, or a month or so back, we were looking at some good trades where people are taking 2-3 points out. Fantastic. And you can make a living doing that. If you can do that every day, you can scale up. Or it's not scale up. You can go in with 3, 4, 5 contracts and just take out three points on each contract. Bang, off you go. So yeah, hone it, tune it. As if I can use my usual line, Bruce, about golf or something like that, we all play the same course, but we play in a different way. Just find what works for you. It doesn't have to be how Scott trades or Jack trades or you trade, Bruce. It's how you as an individual trade and hone that and tune that. And it's great hearing how you're talking with other traders, particularly Valley fan, and sort of having your own nuance on that Camarilla setup. So well done, sir. Well done.
Thank
Yeah.
you guys. Appreciate the feedback.
Thank you, Caesar. Thank you very much. You've been really making some great content. So
Yeah, definitely.
thank you.
Definitely. Yeah.
Um, David, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that. So, like in a lot of in essence, it's kind of a funny thing. You're hitting these singles,
Yeah.
but you're hitting a home run within the single. you know,
That's it. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're coming in and like, okay, yeah, like I know that first base is over there, but watch this, and like you just start throwing it in and throwing more money in, and it's going to first base, and that's where I'm going to cover. And by that time, I mean, you're just up a ton, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it probably didn't even go against you.
No, rarely, and that's obviously lady luck and that. And some of you were probably on the call pre 4 o'clock when Jack and me were talking about a trade that we'd both shared. I keep leading to John now. I know is here who also saw that. Jack was going short and I was going long within a matter of literally minutes, Bruce, wasn't it? We were talking through, and that's back to my thing about we're all playing the same course, but we're playing it a different way.
Yeah, totally.
Just...
Let's see. Let's move on to. Let's see. It's 5:30 here, so we've gone for about an hour and a half, and let's see here. So we've gone through yours and Jack's. Some of the other guys in here. We'll put in the we'll paste the Notion files from the other coaches in here, from Moby, and then also from Stan. They can, Moby's in Eastern Australia or Western Australia. He will never be able to make it at this time, unless he wants to get up at 3 a.m. or whatever time it is there. But he's got his comments in here. This is Moby's here. Please take a look. Yep, got that one. And then we've got another one here. This is Stan, I believe. Yep, he's got Dune Runner. He's got a bunch in here. Stan's got Shark Baloo. He's got Dune Runner, and he's got Sajota. So let's see here. And what do I have here? Oh no, and we went through. This is Jack's. So we went through this one. I think I had Vinny, DNT, Trader HE, and I had you, David. We covered you though, I think pretty well. You're looking at market timings, and then you're hitting that, I think, that single and just knocking it out of the park.
Hitting it hard.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And HE's not in, so DNT is here, and Vinny. And I think is Vinny. Yeah, Vinny's here. So let's see. Why don't we jump to Vinny, then DNT, and then we'll jump over to. We went through Robbed. This one here, right? We'll try to get through everybody. Then Shark. And then Dune Runner, and then Sajoto is not in here, but let's start with Vinny, and we'll take it from there. Vinny, welcome.
Welcome.
Hey, how are you? How's everybody doing today?
Doing well.
Very good. Very good.
You too. I mean, Vinny, my God, really just week over week, really great work. It's really impressive. I mean that we see you're improving, and you're very consistent. You got the date, you got your setup, you've got the order flow and the things marked up on your charts, and you're following your plan, and you seems like you're getting great results.
Well, yes, I just want to thank everybody, all the coaches, for helping me get to this point. Every week is a learning week, and really thanks to Jack, David, Dan, and you too, Bruce, for being a role model for me, for improving. Improving. I started with the Blue Jacket way back in the beginning of the year, and so and also it's an honor to go ahead and be accepted into the academy. So thank you very much for the confidence in me.
Yeah.
Welcome. Well earned, sir.
Walk us through the trade here.
All right. Well, let's see. Yeah, this is a typical setup that you can see the liquid resistance above, and then it came in with iceberg resistance. So which was pretty nice because it gave me even greater conviction on the trade. I piled on just a few contracts there, and I think what was mentioned earlier, you really don't need a whole lot of points to get a good substantial gain. And then this was just the case. So I also saw the orders pull lower, and I had the trio there of assets, and just loaded up with a few contracts and hit the target, and
Beautiful.
with the liquidity. Yeah. So and it also the sub chart came in as well with the CBD signal short and the iceberg. So this is a setup that I've been really kind of working on. It came with a bunch of assets and just took advantage of it. And was mentioned earlier, base hits add up. So you really don't need those 8, 10, 20 points. You can have your stops right in place just above the iceberg. It's only a couple points. So if you go ahead and it goes against you, you only lose a couple of points, but you can still gain, 1.5, stop loss. So you just keep your losses small and your rewards high, and it'll offset your losses. And that's what's been happening. I mean, I've kind of been posting in the room. Some of my win rates have been kind of low, below 50%, but overall, at the end of the day, the accounts have been green, and that's the goal, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
So just been studying, just trimming down, honing in, really focusing on several setups, and just waiting, patiently, just waiting patiently for that to happen. And a lot of it is with trial and error, so some of the new traders out there is trial and error. You really got to hit it. There's a lot of screen time, and you just got to, there's some prop firms out there that allow you an opportunity to go ahead and do your testing on some of your theories and your strategies with evaluation accounts. And that's pretty much what I've been doing for the spring and into the summer, which is really kind of morphed into moving on into funded accounts now, and it's been been paying off. So just keep expanding,
Nice.
and Bookmap has been really kind of a game changer, because when compared to charts, there was something I posted earlier today. You just kind of compare the liquidity with a plain view chart. You're able to see the liquidity a lot more clearer. So what I might have entered in a chart has a better visual on the liquidity on the Bookmap. So that allows me a tighter stop. That allows me opportunities for a greater profit target. And you're just taking advantage of it.
Perfect. This is a lovely trade. I'd expect to see this sort of trade from Crash. The Crash is probably swearing at the screen going, no. But this is just, it's beautiful. It is. It's a short, sharp, in you go. I'm going to say something like it's low risk, Bruce. Of course, every trade carries risk, but as you rightly say, you got some real strong confluence here to go in there, smash. You got strong defense of where your stop's going to be on the iceberg, a bit of surfing, a bit of Brian Wilson going on. You got a clear target. In you go, bang. It's smash and grab. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And if time of day, this is getting in the sort of last frame, last hour, I guess, before the market closes. So you're not in the crazy last 30 minutes, 20 minutes or so. So yeah, in you go. Beautiful.
Good vibrations. You're right. But yeah, you're right. I've been working with the slower markets a little bit more. They tend to be a little slower, so the setups are a little bit more visual for me, and then I can tighten the stops a little better. And just because during the day today, is just another example of all the chop and the very large moves. So, and then sometimes you really have to adjust your game plan, don't you? You need to go ahead and understand that, hey, maybe I can't do 3, 4, or 5 contracts. Maybe I can only do 1. Yeah. And so that's pretty much what I worked on today. I just worked on 1, and it doesn't take much, and you hit your goal, and hey, shut it down.
Brilliant. No, love it, Bruce. Love it, Bruce. Love it. Very good.
Yeah, and I can see actually why you like it, David, because like this is kind of your style too,
It
of
is,
like,
yeah.
okay, I got something here, I know it, I'm looking for here,
Yeah.
and I'm just it should happen pretty quickly, is what you're thinking. You got your confluences and stuff, and you're not looking for more. Grab it and look for the next one.
Yeah, exactly. And there could be opportunities where you can let it go greater than 4 points. And maybe that's something I need to do is scale out a little bit and just keep a contract to for a little longer for some of the tighter for some of the greater targets. On this screen you see here, there looks like it's 57.60. So I might have been able to hold out for a little bit more, but I'm satisfied. It hit your goal, and like you said, move on to the next one.
Yeah.
So but you guys have really provided an opportunity, a platform, at least for me, to go ahead and use Bookmap, and with your guidance has allowed me to expand some of my you know learn talents, which I'm still learning. And you only learn 10%. I got 90% more to learn, but that's why I'm here with the academy. You guys are great. Keep it going.
Thank you,
Oh,
sir.
thank
We
you.
all learn. We all learn. We
Thank
all
you.
learn. I learn off listening to you guys talk about your trades and posts and so forth, and little nuances. And as I say, back to my golf thing, you pick up tips off one another. So it's great. It's a great community we've got here with Bruce.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. It's exactly that. Like with the community, we can learn from each other, and
Yeah.
things that we're like, really, that's kind of interesting. Let's look into that. Let's consider that. And uh, oh, but Vinny, though, like it, thanks for the compliments, but it's you. You're doing it.
You're doing
You
the reps and sets.
you're putting in the time. You're loading the Bookmap Academy room with these images, and you're putting in the effort. You've got you're listening, and you're following things that all the coaches have recommended.
Right.
Putting this checklist on here. Jack putting in the date, showing the time, showing the price. And then marking up your charts from when Slowdown was a coach. He talked about his process, etc.
Mm.
And learning from many others. In Crash comes to mind immediately about all the different confluences, etc. So and then marking these things up. So and due to that, now you got some really nice strategies for yourself.
Yeah, just to add on, you're right. It's especially the feedback that I received from Jack, from Owen, early on regarding the checklist that you had just mentioned, Bruce. That's been a really a benefit because hey, and the spreadsheet, allowing to go ahead and not only do you do your trades, but you have to replicate it, not really replicate it, but transfer it into your spreadsheet. So it's like repetition. So you get to go over it again when
Yeah.
you log it into your spreadsheet. And so that's another great advantage to the Bookmap Academy being in here. And you're right. The room is great to be able to bounce ideas also off of. Shark Blue has been in there. I've been with Jack Valley Fan, and so many others. And Crash as well. And then Slow Down early on. He provided me input on some of my charts. So yeah, I mean I can go on and on. Everybody actually in the room is awesome.
Giving bits to each other. Fantastic. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. Well, thank you, Vinny. Here's the follow up on it, the before and the after, right? And it did happen pretty quickly. So right into your level. I think what did you have here for the before? It was at right around this point here where we see a little bit of buying coming in. Looks like around 15, 18. And then let's go back here and take a look. Can I get out of this thing? There you go. Okay. 15, 18. No, okay. It did take a little while. So this move
Yeah.
unfolded here, and then it kind of chopped for a bit, and it chopped again a bit. Oh, this is that's at the close here. So, well, this opens up a whole new realm in the conversation, actually. And you're on East Coast time, Vinny?
I'm on West Coast.
Oh, you're on West Coast.
Oh,
So this is 4 o'clock, but I mean, is this the 4 o'clock on the West Coast?
I'm not sure what time that is. What time? Yeah, that the times that are on listed are my times. So I can't see them.
Okay, okay. So this is basically 7 p.m. then. So this is after markets.
After market. Yep.
Okay.
Nice and slow.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Yeah, so it took a while actually for this to kind of unfold.
And sometimes it can, Bruce. It's these slow markets. It does. As it can take a little while to transition to the target, and that's okay. And it's just sometimes it can be a little grinding. A little, you can get a little nervous, but the big thing is, number one rule is to keep your emotions in check, and you have your stops. So it's okay if you accept your loss, and if it gets there, and then just move on.
Yeah. Well said. All right. Well, thank you, Vinny. And let's see, guys. I thought we'd try to get to everybody. Let's jump in maybe with DNT and bring him up to the stage here.
Perfect. And we can talk about trade management a little bit as he joins us. I know he's got a question on that one, which is a hard one to answer, Bruce, as you'll appreciate.
All right. And yeah, DNT, jump in here, please.
Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah, I know you guys wrapping up here.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, good to see you too. Now, the trade management, I wasn't sure. David, do you work zones? Is that how you do them?
I do have zones on my tick charts. Yeah, they are sort of support and resistance zones. So I do keep an eye on those. My trade management is quite, I'm going to say, basic and fundamental. Which is not a really good answer. A lot of it is sort of gut feel. So if you were trading this morning with me in London, I'll say alongside John again, if I may, John, my stop was fairly wide when I got in on the dip, and I kept it fairly wide, if that was the question, until we got towards sort of New York waking up, not coming online. So it's extended trading hours. And I sort of tightened things up, split things out. I mentioned it did a video on it. And just my gut feel was we were going to get to a particular level. We're going to get back to where London opened. My ramble here is that it really is case specific. It's not a one size fits all. Into the close that I talked about now for the cash close, in terms of where I was scalping hard and aggressively, to use Jack's word, it was very tight, and I'm relying on Ninja to manage those stops and so forth. As Bruce has said to me, David, we need to do a video on it at some stage. I know you'll say that, because it really depends on a lot of factors, and unfortunately, it's back to the theme that we've heard tonight, and we do rightly hear a lot about. It's about screen time, the American phrase of reps and sets, that sort of thing, of just knowing, or not knowing arrogantly, but knowing that, okay, for this situation, this time of day, this pace, etc., I probably need to give it a bit more. Oh, I'm going to bring it in. Yeah, it's hard to write up, Bruce. You take my point. It's not a Camarilla setup. How I do my trade management. Those that have seen me trade. Well, you've seen me trade, Bruce. It's blocking and tackling.
Oh yeah, I mean you trade like a floor trader, or just in the pit, and like aggressive coming in hard, and then see what happens, and then maybe even harder, come in harder, and then and it's like, okay, now I'm out.
Yeah. John Wick approach to trading, the John Wick life. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, and it's not what I really like it, David. It's with this style because like you know what you're looking for. It's
Yeah.
going your way. You
Yeah.
know you've got an edge. Ride it and leverage it, and then get out and look for the next one.
That's it. It's exactly it. Yeah.
So it's not a math. It's not this really incredibly challenging math problem of like, well, it did this and it did that, and it's like, no, this is simple, blunt, direct. Price is moving. There's a lot of volume behind it. I'm getting in, it's extremely effective. So, DNT, I don't know. You want to? If there's anything you want to go over in this here, the final hour here, since you've got David on with talking about the close here, yeah.
Well, when I was asking about the trade management was because I just recently started working zones. So like this is the final hour, and this might have been a little bit risky, especially going into the final hour, scaling in this much. The zone was kind of wide, and so I did reduce my size, and so going into it, I'm scaling in as it's going down. So something I've kind of been trying to do. This was one of my first attempts, I think, trying to work a zone. And the zone is a thick zone, so I'm wanting to get in, but I know that for my idea to be wrong, it has to go far, and so my risk is wide. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to work the zone, getting in, trying to get a scale, so that way my break even will cover the zone. And as we see, that white line is my break-even indicator. I'm kind of getting bad entries here for one, so it's not really helping. And also the trade is still making lower lows and not really going in my favor yet. So I actually don't even really start to get the zone covered, my risk covered until it starts to break out. As you can see, my break-even indicator starts to finally like cover the zone around 1530. And 1530 is kind of when I was anticipating the market to go in the direction that I was hoping to, because the first half of the final hour I look for liquidation of the dominant side, and that's what happened. And so I'm scaling in as the market's like liquidating as it's coming into my zone. Then I'm hoping that it'll hold. And the latter 30 minutes of the final hour, I'm looking for the dominant side to take control again, or for continuation of the dominant side to continue. And I got lucky, and that's what happened. Um, you know, and I was able to kind of cover my risk coming out of that zone.
Got you. I think
I'm sorry about that. I actually do have, I think, extra runners coming out of this. This was just an example to show my risk being covered through this zone.
Yeah,
I think I still do have runners further.
You got another one up here, it looks like, as well.
There's one there, but I think I still have more above that. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, you nailed it. You knocked it out of the park. And this is what can happen when you scale. There's, I don't know, like this one worked. I would and I know that we talked about it in the webinar about zones, and then kind of thinking about, look, if we all come in here thinking like, oh, I'm gonna just it did this, therefore I'm getting in, and it should do it what I want it to do because it showed my pattern or something. It's kind of ridiculous to think that. Like sometimes, yeah, we really do see it, but the market, I mean, and that's what we look for. That's our edge. But the market can do anything, and we just have to manage it at that point. we got the order, we might have the order flow on our side and everything, and then something happens and everything gets shaken up. My point is that we talked about, I think, in the webinar D&T about thinking of it as a zone, and then like this way you're like, okay, look, here's a price zone, and I just want to be kind of positioned in here, and I'm going to manage this differently. Of like, maybe I get in here a little bit, maybe I get in like, down in here a little bit, and I'm thinking it's probably going to, it's likely to come back up to here, and maybe I scale then, and then maybe I get a runner out of it too. But just I would, we've all done it many times of, we're in a downtrend, and you're getting into a zone on the downtrend, and it can be really, really devastating to your account. So make sure that you're very careful with that, or I would recommend not going. Make sure it's either sideways or if it's trending in your direction, because down in here you see some nice things in here. A bit lower in here, this is going to be a stop run, and then you can see again it retests back up in here, and then you start to get the buyers starting to come back in. So this is failing in here, but there could have been a lot of sellers. Like this kind of selling here could have been down here, and it could have really careened lower here. I like your picture-in-picture here. This is great because we don't see it on the chart here, but you got high liquidity. That's fantastic. It's not in this here. This is your trend in here, right?
Right.
That's this area in here. So I refer to it that way. This is this, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then yeah, you see that here's that big sell dot, but once you get back up above it, and where did it go? Right to your liquidity. Yeah, beauty. So just be careful on that in this the final hour too. I don't know, David, if you have any comments on that.
Not a great deal. It's a different style of trading to how I trade in terms of, but I see the logic, and I do, to your question, I do have zones on my tick charts. And Bruce, a few weeks ago or so, when we were talking about footprint charts and so forth, and some of the setups there, those are very good for sort of printing and showing those levels. And yeah, the close is a fantastic time for the Brave to go and take some points out. So yeah, well done. You got the liquidity, echoing what Bruce has said above. It's not saying it's definitely going to rally up there. For me and others, we'll be looking at other sort of confluence to see what else is perhaps driving that. Some of the key Mag 7 and other bits and bobs that are going to help the price go up. And yeah, I don't scale so much these days into trades when they're going against me. But as Bruce has talked about, and I talk about, that's because I really am I'm echoing what Jack said earlier on. Anything over 5 minutes is a swing trade for me. So it's, but yeah, I love it. Well executed and really nice charting. It's really nice. You got the picture in pictures there. Really clear what you're doing. So well done. No, congratulations. Good trading.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. And yeah, trading against as it's coming down can be so like I don't know where this trade is going to turn, and especially in the final hour it could, yeah, so it is a tough one. So reducing my risk as it's coming down. And my entry, and like I said, this was one of my first trades working a zone, and I wasn't able to catch the bottoms, and I wasn't able to scale out at the tops. But if I had, I think my Theo average would have been a little bit better, at least to cover the zone, if I had executed maybe a little bit better.
Hey, you will, sir. You'll hone it, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Like the honing of the skill. Like maybe this is your style, and if you get good at this, not only would it be good for day trading, but it'd be fantastic for swing trading. In fact, you might want to speak with Jack about some of that with options, because I know that he's quite aggressive with using covered calls, or doing some sort of option strategies in there to like offset this or that, or hedge, etc. This might be because you're very analytical, I think, and that's your strength. And maybe this kind of zone is something that works better for you. Just start to hone the strategy, as David is saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Right.
Yeah, welcome. Good stuff. Good chatting.
All right.
Good trading, sir.
Yeah. Good job. Let's see here. I know I said Vin, or not Vinny. Dune Runner, which Dune Runner looks like Dune Runner left, and Shark, you're still in here. I'm sorry. Like I think we're gonna have to. We'll get to you first next time. You and Dune Runner, if you're okay with that. Let me see here. I hate to keep you guys here, and then like we at the end we say we're not gonna cover you. But anyway, you're good. Okay, great. Thank you, Shark. We'll cover you first next time, and we'll get into all the rest of the good stuff, and the rest of you guys in here that we haven't gone over in a bit. Anyway, looking forward to it. Thanks everybody for coming. We've got some other new news coming out, so keep a lookout in Discord, and also in the next Thursday's meeting to go over some good stuff. David, close it out for me, please.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Great catching up. Really appreciate all the great posting spreadsheets and everything else, and our heart on the sleeve and so forth. If I can perhaps close out, Bruce, with my sort of golfing analogy. Continue to work your game, hone your game, what works for you, try out some new things, but basically play your own game and take out as much greenery out of the market as you can for us. Do us all proud. Thank you, Bruce. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care.
All right. Thank you, everybody. All right. Thanks,
Cheers,
David.
Guys. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.